Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is Coach Shawn and my brother, Coach Jay, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Brought to you by the man himself, Cal Henderson, and Lady T behind the scenes on the wheels of steel. We are here today with you to break down real quickly Alabama special teams. Obviously, we got to start off with the man himself. The all-time college football leading scorer is gone, unfortunately, Coach Jay, and that'll be one and only Will Reichard. What you think about that, Coach Jay?
It's gonna suck. I remember the years even throughout all throughout the Saban era where we were struggling with kickers,
Facts.
with kickers. I remember the 2011 year we had two kickers because one couldn't kick 40-yard field goals beyond that marker, and the other one couldn't hit the easy 20, 30-yard field goals. Like we've had a history of dealing with really bad place kickers. And so to finally have one that was consistent, and Will Reichard, he lived up to the hype because he was this kicking prodigy that was from this area. He grew up, I believe, a fan of of Alabama, and he promised. Like, remember his freshman, like he came in during his freshman season. He said, "Listen, I promise, I'm going to be the greatest kicker ever to come from the University of Alabama," and it happened. I mean, he was here for 5 years. He had 5 tremendous years, all-time points leader. Congratulations to him. And man, it is going to suck because for 5 years that was a spot that we were great at, and I hopefully we don't try to regress and go back. But we have some promise. We got some promising kids that could possibly maybe not replace his productivity and what he was able to achieve at Alabama, but at least not digress to what we were in the past. That's a nightmare. We all can agree on. We don't want to try to go back to it.
Oh, facts, man. Good night, brother. You hit the nail on the head. We had some absolute terrible times kicking the ball. Hopefully, we got 3 kids that's coming in. 2 of them are already there. Redshirt freshman Connor Talty is all from Chicago. He's already there. Big leg kid, kicks some long field goals. Has limited experience, right? 2 young kids in Tucker Cornelius, who's a kicker, and punter Andrew Grew, right? These guys are all there from Northridge High School here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So all these kids will be specialists, especially Tucker Cornelius, who will be battling Connor Talty. Who do you expect to win that race for as the kicker is concerned, Coach Jay?
I'm gonna go with Connor only because I don't really have that much information on the other 2 kickers for the most part. I know they're walk-on type guys, but Connor was kind of the one person I think a lot of people was really high on. He wasn't like a high 3 and 4 star player like Will Reichard was, but he did win some kicking competitions. Matter of fact, I think one of the kicking competitions Alabama literally offered him right there on the spot. So so obviously when it comes to upside and talent, that could be the guy right there that could do a very, very good job. But that's a very interesting question because we just don't have that much data or information about these 2 guys and whether or not they have enough leg strength. Do they have enough drive? Are they again the confidence, right? When you're kicking at the University of Alabama at the high enough level, you want to see the best of the best. You want to see guys that are not going to break under duress. It's going to break under pressure, especially during those stressful situations where maybe you're going to have to kick a 50-yard field goal. Maybe you're going to have to kick a 40-yard field goal. You want somebody that can do that. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in that particular area. But overall wise, I think for now, I'm going to go with the kid that has the most upside and probably go with Connor and see what that does.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. Shout out to Tucker Cornelius from Northridge in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. A preferred walk-on that was good enough to get an actual preferred walk-on offer to kick at Alabama. But I do believe, like you said, Coach Jay, I do believe Connor Talty is the man to beat. The young man will have his opportunity. We all know kicking in the football game is absolutely different than just kicking with a lot of people standing around. It's going to be crazy. We know Coach Jay Nunez is here from Oklahoma. And what's crazy is I got some information from Kyle that Coach Nunez will not be on the football field. He's the special teams coordinator, but he's not going to be an on-field coach, right? So, wow. I think they're saving those spots for some more analysts that could actually help out on the offense or defense. So that's an important nugget. Wow. So now that we got kicker who we think will start, what about punter? We all know who's coming back at punter, possibly the best punter in the nation, Aussie James Burnip. What do you think about him?
Yeah, James Burnip is he's going to be a very, very interesting player because you're talking about a guy that has that. You look at his average, 47.5 yards. If we're talking about his net for punting, that's ridiculous. Longest was 67 on the field. Just that overall average, and again, he's kind of like J.K. Scott, right? He's like he was a 6'5", 6'6" type guy. Not the he's like 180 pounds, 190 pounds. Not the biggest guy in the world. Yeah, he's not the biggest guy in the world. But that dude has a drive. That dude has a legger on him. So I like James Burnip. I like exactly what he could potentially do. He put this team in a lot of really, really good positions, especially inside the 20. I believe he was top ranked in the country in that particular area. So James Burnip is a monster. He is a monster punter, man, that has a heck of a leg that can set this defense up in phenomenal field position inside the 20, which is exactly what you want. You want to get as much field position as possible in the red zone. That's the one guy on special teams that I believe I have a lot of faith and I have a lot of confidence in. Punter is a position that it seems like we've had our rough times, especially in 2019. I mean, I will never forget that year, but we've had a lot more good than bad as far as punting. So, James Burnip being back, that's really, really big because it fills a void as far as our entire special teams unit, which honestly, I thought you can make an argument the most consistent side of the ball was our special teams unit, mostly with our kicking and punting unit. Coverage unit, I mean that's an argument for a different day, but I mean you arguably had the best kicker and the best punter last year, and now going into this year, you now probably just only have the best punter. So that's not bad. I wish it was like how it was last year, but it's not bad.
I agree 1,000%. The good thing is Burnip is coming back. That's the great thing about it. This guy might be an All-American. Like you said, he got a power leg. It's crazy. He can punt long. He can punt short. He can keep it inside the 20. Also, his running mate, current junior, Neelan Hibbett, has been the picture of consistency since arriving, the long snapper. He's coming back, arriving from Florence as usual. He'll be returning for his senior year. I read where junior Neelan Hibbett, the long snapper. Long snappers are very important. I know they don't get a lot of credit, a lot of shine, a lot of love. The long snapper is important. Trust and believe that. His name is Neelan Hibbett. And Neelan Hibbett. Shout out to Neelan Hibbett. He will be back. So that's the picture of consistency. Love having him back. Now for the good stuff. Who's gonna be your returners? Kickoff return first. What you got, Coach Jay?
Man, that's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens because, I mean, you look at there's a lot of weapons that can be used. Now, one thing I will say this: I don't want any corners returning. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of corners and safeties that are my returners. I want skill guys. I want actual skill guys that have focused, that's been around the football. Skill position players like receivers, running backs, guys that are not afraid to take hits instead of the ones that are delivering the hits. Guys that are used to that sort of pressure. That's what I want, and I feel like last year we had an issue with that with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Obviously, Caleb Downs did a really, really good job there, but kick returning wise, we weren't bad, but we weren't particularly good as well. We got to get better at that. But you got guys like Kendrick Law, who has he's that the Debo. I know he hates the comparison, but still, it's kind of like a Tavon Austin, Debo Samuel type of like a Cordell Patterson type of role, where the guy he can be utilized as a weapon all over the football field. But as a returner, he definitely has that high potential to be a very, very special return man, especially at that kick return position. Justice Haynes, we've had a history of running backs that can return. Justice Haynes, I think he did that at Buford before, so I would like to see what Justice Haynes could potentially do as a potential kick returner. You look at guys like Kobe Prentice as an opportunity, Ryan Williams, and we talked about this like off stage. Ryan Williams is probably not going to do it, but still, we all know how electric he is. He has that ability to do it, but we'll see what kind of happens there. Emmanuel Henderson's another name that's been key on special teams before. At the high school ranks, he has experience. So that's kind of the good thing, and that's the great riches about Alabama as far as what you can do as a kick and punt returner. You have a lot of guys right here that's not only can catch. They're not going to have a lot. They're not going to have a lot of opportunities, but what they can do after catching the ball, right? These guys are electric. These guys are exciting. These guys got all whatever it takes to become really good returners. And it's just all about making the right evaluation. I feel like last year we did not make the right evaluation as far as our returning unit. Listen,
Right.
everyone loves Kool-Aid McKinstry. I understand it. But it was clear as all day that Kool-Aid McKinstry should have never been the guy. Again,
Yeah.
he had some really good punts. He has really good returns.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. I mean, Caleb Downs stepped in out of desperation and showed he was a better punt returner. We got to make the right evaluations. And, hopefully with our new hire with Jay Nunez and again, like you just said, he's going to be up in the booth. So hopefully we can have more analysts that's going to step into that role and taking a part in making the correct evaluations. Hopefully if we can do that, we'll be fine because we got enough talent out here for a lot of kids to be returners and do a really good job for this team.
That's a whole fact, man. I'm right there with you. Kobe, Kendrick Law, Justice, right? Me personally, just my humble opinion, I would, if Ryan has to be on the special teams, I would like it to be kickoff return. I don't want to put him back there on punt return. Punt return is a little different beast, right? Caleb Downs was just special. You don't really see a lot of freshmen punt returners like that. Caleb Downs was very, very special. You got to give that young man his credit. I don't want to see Ryan right now as a freshman, as small as he is, on punt return. Now, kick return, I love to see him where you can see everything coming. You catch the ball. The blocking schemes are set up for you. Everybody call it something different, right? The wedges are set up for you different. Punt return is a different beast. Punt return, you get your block knocked off if you're not careful. I don't want to steal his confidence away so early, right? I'd like to get him in and get him, acclimated to college football before I stick him back there on punt return. Kick return, I wouldn't mind seeing him on, right? But I think punt return, you got to go with somebody with some sure hands, somebody that's been hit in college football a lot before, somebody like Kobe or Emmanuel Henderson, like that. Cole Adams, I wouldn't mind seeing little Cole get back there, right? He in high school, that kid was electric. He was electric in kickoff return and punt return. So I think Cole Adams will be a factor as well. We just got to hope and pray that Jay Nunez really, really, really puts his foot on the ground and sort of puts his stamp on it, man. Now, last and finally, the coverage units. The actual kickoff team and punt team. They weren't very good last year, right? To keep it, they weren't very good. We didn't cover kicks very well on either side.
And it showed itself in that Michigan game. How Michigan was able to get their returns compared to what we were able to do on the return unit was disgusting. It was disgusting.
It's crazy because we have athletes on top of athletes, right? We have great defensive backs, a plethora of them, young, but that would be the perfect time to see Xavier Mincy, Xavier Brown, Peyton Woodyard. Put these kids, let them run downfield and let them get physical and knock somebody's block off, right? Kick return is a little different because we know a lot of times they don't return it, but you want people on kick return that's going to lay it on the line because kick returns can turn a game like that, right? Punt returns can turn a game like that. So you definitely want good, solid coverage units. And whoever they put on the coverage units, I think me and Coach Jay agree that it need to be better than last year. It need to be better than last year. What you got in the wrap up, Coach Jay?
No, I agree. Our punt coverage unit was terrible. Was terrible from both sides. It was just terrible. That Michigan game really showed itself. How every single time there were 3-4 hats around our returner before they even got a chance. Compared to Michigan, where these guys had, the returners had 7, 8, 9 yards of cushion every single time. That was the entire season. And so the biggest concern for me is that you do bring in Jay Nunez from Oklahoma, who if you talk to their fans, and I'm not just talking to the fans that are blatantly pissed off that people are leaving the program, you talk to the logical fans and you do some research on Jay Nunez. He did. Let's be honest, that's the special teams for Oklahoma was not good last year. It was not. Right. From an overall place kicking standpoint, they went 5 for 11. From a punting standpoint, their averages dropped low. Their kick return unit, their punt return unit, their coverage for both their coverage units, the productivity was not there. And Oklahoma has solid special teams units. They're not really known for that, but they hired Jay Nunez because they wanted to see somebody improve it. Well, now that we have Jay, now that all of a sudden you see that a lot of people are saying, okay, we don't get good riddance. That was kind of one of the weak links of the team. Yeah, you can sit up and say, well, Oklahoma fans are just being bitter about the entire situation. But at the same time, we can't make it seem like every hire that Kalen DeBoer has made has been the right hire, right?
Yeah.
Again, we want to be as supportive as possible, but we can't be afraid to kind of call it the way that it is. If there's anything to be worried about, it is honestly the place kicking unit, because as talented as Connor Taffy is, we don't know how good he can be. That's and right. Can Jay Nunez develop? Because we've seen what happened last year, and last year was a disaster for their place kicking unit. So now you're taking that guy and bringing it over, and especially when you're losing the best kicker in the nation, that he can help develop this particular player. I have no idea what is going to look like there. I have no idea if our coverage units are going to get better. I think our return units can be good, because I don't think we're going to go. I don't think we're going to go with corner. I just don't. I don't think we're going to go with a corner or safety to be our returners. I think we're going, like you just said, I think we're going to go with more receivers, more skill position players to help that out. But our coverage units was a concern, and hopefully Jake fixes it, and hopefully he becomes one of the best in the business. But based off of last year, it just was not a good look. It was not a good look, and hopefully he can improve it. But there is some skepticism that you can make an argument for. Like you can sit up here and say, I'm not too sure about this. I'm a little skeptical a little bit about this hire, but we'll find out and see, and hopefully he can get better.
All facts. Coach Nunez, he has his work cut out for him. The talent is there, but the technique has got to be there with it, right? We've covered our specialists, kicker and punter. We've covered the guys we think could be back on both of those special teams, and we covered the coverage units themselves. So we hope it works out. We think it can work out, but we got to be honest with ourselves, and let's see what happens. Shout out to Cole Adams. Hope that young man gets an opportunity. Shout out to all the young men that will be on these coverage units, because the games can be won and lost with these coverage units. So we thank you guys for tapping in. We appreciate you more than you know. Roll Tide to all Bama Nation and the undefeated. Coach Jay, what you think?
Man, listen, it's great to be doing these sort of videos. Make sure to catch our other coaches, because they'll be doing some of the other they'll be doing the other kind of coaches as well. So it'd be very, very exciting to be going over some of our other units, such as offense, defense, receivers, running backs, linebackers. You will catch it all, and all you have to do is simply become a fan member. So hopefully you guys enjoy the content, and me and Coach Shawn, we will catch you guys on the next one, hopefully.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.